I want to ask you about Houston sports in general and kind of big picture. What was the guy that was your favorite athlete to cover in your time in Houston sports?
Unequivocally, there's one name and one name only of the hundreds of athletes that I covered. YAO Ming, the single most fascinating individual that I ever had the pleasure of covering. Not the greatest athlete, but the single most fascinating person.
And the thing about Yao, to me, that always came across and made him such a lovable figure for a Rockets fan was that Yao was such a genuine person, and he seemed, very humble in a sport in the NBA where, that is not something that's common, Barry.
Well, what's so unique about Yao is we would spend hours talking about non-basketball things. He had a room that was his workout room, a state-of-the-art gym where he had machinery for every part of his body and specifically for his feet that were specially designed. And he had an Olympic-sized swimming pool where he could run in there and with a treadmill in there. When he was injured, which was quite often, unfortunately, during his short career with the Rockets, he would put a king-size bed in a room that had all these Hall of Fame pictures. Now, what Yao would do, he did not want to go out and be ostentatious. So he had a man that I introduced him to, Andy Yao, his best friend, still today. And Andy would go to charity affairs, or Andy would go to a store, a memorabilia place, and buy all these pictures of NBA greats. And they would be proudly displayed. And there had to be, Robert, conservatively, about $700,000 worth of pictures. I mean, from George Mikan to black and white photos of Wilt and Bill Russell, and to Jerry West and Bob Cousy, and I mean, just a literal collage and tribute to the greats of basketball. So I asked him one day, we were sitting by the pool, I said, my friend, if there was a fire that broke out, what would you run in to get out of all this great collection? I mean, what would the 3 or 4 pictures that you would have to take? And he goes, oh, that could all burn. I go, what? He goes, oh yeah, those are just things that could always replace those. And I'm sitting there stunned. And he said, what you did not see is upstairs in my office. I have 2 frames specially made with pins from the Olympic Villages in 2000 and 2004. Those are priceless. He said, you had no idea. And he used to call me Quanto Loto, which means short, bald, old man. And he said, Quanto Loto, those are priceless. I can never get those again. And he said, the only reason that I will play, if healthy, in the 2012 Olympics is to once again be in a village. Because if you will remember, in the games in Shanghai, we stayed at a 6-star hotel. We did not have the experience in the Olympic Village. And he said, I missed that.
You're listening to Houston Sports Talk.